Hi everyone, my name's Tara Llanes and I play for Team Canada Wheelchair Basketball. And I'd like to thank Kevin Bowie for asking me to answer some questions during Pride Month as part of viaSport's Pride Initiative. Normally during this month, I would go to Gay Pride and celebrate everybody that is there and the struggles that they may have had to go through, whether that was coming out to family and friends and loved ones and not really knowing how they would react. I'd like to say that over the years, things have changed and people have become way more open because love is love, and it shouldn't really matter who you love as long as you're able to give that love and receive it back. I just try to be supportive of everyone that's gone through those struggles. You know, truthfully, all throughout my athletic career and life, I have felt nothing but support. You know, I'm sure there's been the occasional thing that was said that made me feel uncomfortable or that I didn't like or that was disrespectful. But for the most part, I feel like I've received a ton of support, and mainly from my family. First off, my mom. The first time that I kind of had come out to my mom, I was so nervous. I was just wanted her to accept me, which she always did 100%. There was no question. It was just stuff that was built up in my head. So for me, she's been the most important. And, you know, from there, obviously, you know, my grandmother and my family and my friends, and just wanting them to be okay with who I was and who I've always been. And they were 100%. So that's been, I feel like I've been pretty lucky in that way. For me, I was super nervous when I was racing BMX, I was pretty young. I started when I was 11, 12 years old. Did I know I was gay at that point? Yeah, I knew when I was about 7. So, but at that time, I dated boys. I wasn't confident enough and knew enough of, I guess, who I was and my confidence. You know, it's pretty young. But as I got older, and once I started racing mountain bikes and I was about 16 years old, I absolutely 100% knew. And I was really nervous. I was really nervous that I was going to lose sponsorship. We had some pretty big team sponsors, and I had some pretty sizable personal sponsors. And I was really nervous that when if I came out, because at that time it was like the mid to late 90s, I thought I would lose all sponsorship. So I sort of kept it close to the chest and never said anything, even though years later, come to find out, everybody knew anyway. But that was, I think, it was difficult for me. Towards the end of my career, it didn't matter. I was out and I was proud, and I had a lot more confidence to be who I was. And yeah, things were quite different, I feel, in the mid to late 90s than they are now. Everything has progressed so far that it's really amazing to see and to know that for the younger generation, and so that they feel comfortable being able to come out, and it's no big deal. I mean, I think it just kind of goes back to the last question, where in the mid to late 90s, society, they were moving in the right direction, but it was not where it is today. Today, you know, I feel like most people can feel fairly comfortable coming out because it's really not a big deal. Of course, it's not a big deal to me because I'm gay, but I think there's people are so much more open-minded now, and you know, realize that it's your business, who you love, and it's such an amazing thing to see that, and to see how many pride flags are out and how many businesses are supporting gay pride, and what it means to our community. Well, a lot of us had been training on our own for quite some time. I was back home in BC training by myself for a little over a year, about a year and a half, actually. So playing a team sport and then having to train on your own is quite something. And there's a lot of visualization that needs to go into it, and a lot of different ways that I learned how to train. Now I'm in Toronto. We've started our centralization about a month ago, so the whole team is together. And the first week, I think, was a little bit rocky because we hadn't played with each other in so long. So now I feel like we're picking up where we left off, and there's just like minor tweaks that we need to make. But I think every one of us we were so happy to be on court with each other again that we're just ready to rage. We are, and I say this with a lot of confidence, we are a very good team, and I'm very proud of this team and the strides that we've been able to make in the last 2-3 years. So I think things are going really well. What's kept me motivated is winning a gold medal in Tokyo, and knowing that our team can do it. So that's been my motivation. The things that I've learned, I guess, are patience, and the different ways that I could train where I could still better myself, even though there were times when I couldn't get on court and I had to do training in my backyard or outside, on the bike path, just doing hill repeats or sprints and things like that, and watching a lot of video. There were different things that I learned about how to train and how I can still better myself even though I wasn't actually on a court. So it was interesting, let's put it that way. Having an open mind, which I feel more often than not is what's happening in this day and age. Just being there to support and encourage all the way through. I think that's the number one thing, to be able to notice if someone's having a tough time, if I guess if a coach notices that an athlete is struggling, and maybe understands why, to be able to go over and put their arm around him and say, I'm here, and if you need to talk, and share resources. I think that's the most important thing, is just to be there for the athlete and the person. A positive impact. I think I know throughout my life, after being an able-bodied professional mountain biker and feeling like that was going to be my life for the rest of my life, and then that didn't happen. Once I crashed and I broke my back and I broke my neck, I had to sort of start from ground zero and figure out who I was as a person, and then as an athlete, and to figure out where my path was going to lead. And it was an extremely scary time for me, and not sort of losing my identity. And so, I don't know, for me, I would hope it's just a positive one. There's been so many steps in this progression for me, from being super depressed to realizing that I could have, a whole new sporting career and a future in sports, and going to the Paralympics. It's just completely changed my life, and I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change my life. I think a lot of people, when I say that, don't understand that. But the experiences that I've had, and the opportunities that I've been given after being in a chair have been unreal. And I don't know that I would have ever had these same types of experiences had I not been hurt. And I've learned to live with my injury too. So, to be in a chair is like every other day. It's no big deal for me. Gosh, myself. I feel like I just sort of answered that question in the last one, and just my attitude toward, towards life. Things happen for a reason. My mom used to tell me that when I first broke my back when I was in the hospital. And at that point in time, I don't think I was quite ready to hear that. It was way too acute. But over time, over years and years, I understand what she meant by that. And things do happen for a reason. And, we're all put on this earth to do something, to accomplish something, to be someone for someone else. And so I can hopefully be that for someone who maybe watches an interview like this, or maybe watches wheelchair basketball at the Paralympics and was just injured and realizes, oh my God, I can do that. I can totally do that. And wants to put their mind to it and train for it and become the athlete that they can become. As far as my work, I basically have a job. I created my own job working with adaptive mountain bikes, and I sell adaptive mountain bikes. I work with adaptive organizations all over Canada to sort of create more programs for adaptive mountain biking, to get more people out on the trails and with their family and friends outside enjoying nature. And I love that because it sort of combines what I used to do and a whole new job of sales that I didn't know how to do in the first place and just sort of had to learn along the way. So it's been challenging, but very rewarding. So I feel fortunate to have created that, that line of work for myself and to help others get out on the mountain. So thank you again to viaSport and just their Pride initiative, and happy Pride.